President and Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, the Honorable Sidney Alico, along with the Minister within the Ministry, the Honorable Valerie Garrido Lowe. Thank you, Ministers, for being with us.
Thank you very much for coming to us.
Okay, today we'll be having a review of your 6 months in office, the achievements, the plans that you have, and the way forward. Firstly, I would ask you for a synopsis of the areas that you both are in charge of, starting with you, Minister.
Okay, well, I'm in charge of, let us say, the more, what I would term, rugged areas. That is like community development in terms of office buildings, projects, in terms of actual oversight, and also to negotiate for projects that is compatible with the development of the indigenous peoples. So I am more what we term a fieldsman, and also to be working closely with the, let us say, donor agencies, government planning, and being able to be at cabinet to help to put forward all the ideas or the work that we will be doing in the ministry.
Minister Lowe, can you give me a synopsis of what you do in terms of your duties and your portfolio, what falls under your portfolio?
First of all, thank you very much for coming and interview us. And I have oversight over women and children, youth and sports, and welfare matters.
Okay. Starting with the more hardcore stuff. Minister, I know that the ministry has been doing a number of outreaches, both sides. Can you touch a little on that and how that has impacted these communities and help you to have an understanding of the people and their needs?
One of the first critical area would be in the form of land rights, the land demarcation, because without land, there's nothing you could talk about for planning of development for the indigenous peoples. So land is critical to the survival of our people. So that is the key area. And after that, we have projects such as the women's work in a, well, that would be more or less in the minister's area, but we work closely together. We have things like the cassava projects. We have other things like cattle rearing. We have like works with the tractors for farming, and those would be some of the key ones that comes to mind right away.
Okay, Minister, as we're on the topic of projects, the CDPs and presidential grants. At the last NTC meeting, the council were talking about new projects that people wanted to get into. Can you highlight a little of what are some of the successes from these programs and these projects that has been probably in the implementation stage, or for those who has received grants?
Okay, I actually have, if you won't mind, maybe I'd look at the things like village offices, because you need to store information and help to plan, have your meetings. We have things like agriculture, farming in cassava, poultry rearing, logging, nature-based tourism, cattle rearing, small shops, brick making, and fuel stations. So those would be most of the ones for the ADF community development projects.
Okay, Minister, coming back to tourism, you spoke of nature-based tourism. Can you elaborate a little on that?
in Guyana, our key destinations are in the interior. And ecotourism is a big sell out today in the bigger world, the bigger markets. And more so, you would hear things about climate change. You would hear things about RED. You hear things about low carbon development strategy. And this is in keeping with those plans, those ideas of the government. Because it is a good way of exploiting the natural resources without too much harm. It's not like doing gold or doing logging. It is about taking people to see the beauty and to see the indigenous peoples in their natural habitat, a way of life that is understanding the laws of nature and abiding by those rules that will help to keep the ecosystems in place, in order, so that we could be assured of a life in the future if everybody should do that. So that is one part of the tourism that we're working on. The other is, we say, culture tourism, nature tourism, agro-tourism, other things like hardcore tourism, that's like hiking and biking. So these are boating. All these things are part of that plan of development. The type of tourism we're looking at is not necessarily putting up hotels or lodges. What we're looking for is activities like the history of the place. People wants to know more. There are young people who wants to come. They want to volunteer to come to help us to get access to more technology in terms of the internet, and this also will help our communities to have more value, understand the value of their natural surrounding, and hopefully it will give us the opportunity to have more Guyanese going in to visit, to understand the value of their country. So it is about bringing the Guyanese populace together. That is part of education for Guyanese. Remember, the whole coast, we have over let's say 90% of the people lives on the coast, and they think that the whole coast is like this, but the beauty is out there in the interior, and we have a role to play if only given a chance, and this is one chance that we believe we could play that role in.
Okay, Minister. We spoke about the NTC. I know that there are plans to depoliticalize the body. Can you elaborate a little on that? What are your plans? How do you plan to go about doing this?
Okay, we have actually started. The National Tushaus Council is, let us say, an autonomous body. They could do their project proposals, do their budgets, and work with their, what they call their constituents. Each village council has a responsibility to their people, and here is where the executive body takes that role of informing their communities while working with the ministry, other NGOs, other indigenous NGOs, other ministries, and other local, well, even foreign NGOs. They have that opportunity to be able to play a bigger role in us meeting the demands of the lives of the people, of the demands from the people themselves. So they are in the process of having their secretariat. So that is one way of assuring them that they have the rights in their hands. They have the responsibility to their people, and we would like to see this as a partnership in development. We in the ministry, and that's what we are pushing, is to give that supportive mechanism in the areas that they might need, like accessing the capacity to build capacity, train the trainers, and we work together because it has to be a two-way flow of operation instead of us dictating to them, because they already understand on the ground what are their needs. All they need is to be supported in the drive for their own development.
Still closely related to the NTC, this year we had the first ever Indigenous Peoples' Rights and Resources Conference. Can you tell me what was the need for this and what has been the impact?
This is one of the greatest needs that was lacking over the many, many years. I think you would know that if not all, almost all the riches are from the natural resources, and here is the home of the indigenous peoples, and others don't seem to understand that. It is a situation where others go, and this is intrusion, without the respect for the indigenous peoples. The indigenous peoples, they live and they work there. Others go there to work and to extract, and you hardly see the return, the benefits back to the indigenous peoples. And that is what the resource, why this conference was so critical for our, for the NTC and for us as a ministry.
Okay, Minister. Have you seen like any first-hand impact from that conference?
Well, what I've seen is and I think this is probably the biggest or most exciting thing, was to see more people coming out, speaking up freely, making their demands, but in a civilized way, coming to meet with us to say, here are the issues. We would like you to come sit down with us and discuss this. And while we would love to be in each community every day, it is not possible at this moment. But I see the confidence in our people coming up, and not only demanding, but also coming with recommendations how things could be done, and done in a way that would satisfy them and us. So that, I think, is, for me, the biggest thing that could happen within this short period of time.
Moving a little over to women now. Minister Lowe, I know this is your area. So can you tell me a little about the proposals for projects that you may have received? How are the women responding to these projects that you're putting out and to the funds that you may have available?
Well, first of all, our government is in support. We fully support women. And indigenous women, they are now getting the chance to let's say, to live a better life, to work towards a better life, for the simple reason that the projects that they are being funded for, the projects, it's of their own choosing. We are not telling them you must do this or you must do that. They know the needs in their villages, so they would say, well, this is what I want to do. I would want to do, for instance, poultry rearing and sewing, have a sewing group to sew clothes and so on. What else? Maybe rearing of fishes and things like that. But the thing is, they get to choose. They get to choose and to do their business themselves. So, and it's very important for indigenous women for the simple reason that village economy is now beginning to, uh, let's say, we're now beginning to see a village economy. And our men, most of the time, our men, they have to leave to go and do mining, they have to go and do logging, wherever. They have to go and find jobs far away. So our women are left there to fend for their children, for the family. They have to send their children to school, find food for them, clothe them, and everything. So when we empower our women, we're empowering the family and the community. So supporting our women is top priority for us.
Okay, Minister, thank you for that. Moving on to children, the Hinterland Scholarship Program. I know that the ministry usually gives many scholarships for youths to come out from their communities to attend the university, the curricular training center, and those kinds of places. Would it be possible for you to say how many students has been facilitated into these facilities over the past 6 months, or if possible for the past year?
Okay. Now during the month of June to December, we secured scholarships for students to attend various schools and institutions, such as secondary schools across Guyana, Guyana Technical Institute, Carnegie School of Home Economics, Burroughs School of Art, Guyana School of Agriculture, Bena Hill Institute, and also the Kurokuro College. Right now, we have 74 grade 6 attending various schools in Georgetown. 28 technical students were selected and are presently attending technical institutions like Guyana Technical Institute, GSA, as I said, Carnegie and Home Economics. 28 were approved to receive the monthly pocket allowance supported by the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs.
You touched on something that I wanted to speak about, the Bena Hill Institute. How many students are currently enrolled here, and how is the work coming along?
I'll put you over to
We
Minister.
have 67 students.
And how is the work on the institute coming along?
It's in the process of upgrading, fixing the roofs, the rooms, adding other facilities, like a generator, place for doing carpentry and mechanics, and we also have the opportunity of having the area for agricultural development expanded, fixing the fences and stuff like that, the basic things for the institution to get more in the business of expansion, because this is the first time we've been able to move from 34 students to 67 at this moment.
And this is the first time you got some from Region 1 also.
Oh yes, we have 7 students from Region 1, about 20 from Region 8, and of course the entire Rupununi. We've had requests for more students, but we could not at the time accommodate any more, some 30 odd students.
That should be a proud moment for you.
Yes,
Yeah, it is. It is. I think it was there before, but it was what we would call being pashima, because there was not the fertilizer for it. But now that we've been able to get some fertilizer, it is moving and it's gaining, and we have had the first games run off where the youths there, both males and females, are leading in the football games in the north. And in addition to that, we are getting into music, because we believe that music brings the imagination of the young people out. Art, and it is better than going to do bad things. I mean, you have the odd ones, but they're being kept in line. And there is an old system that was practiced so many years ago, the Escuela Nueva system, the new school system, that these young people, they have their own government. So these young people, remember, they are young adults. They're not kindergarten or secondary students. So what is happening there, they are looking at the natural surrounding to see what they could create for themselves as a livelihood, or they have the opportunity for higher learning. So these young people here are already thinking about money and how they could get more money, and they want a skill. Because what has happened over the years is that we've had a number of buses, ATVs, computers, and there's no one to fix them. All you're asking for is the next one, while you're causing visual pollution with all these rubbish in the area. So we need to be able to have that skill of repair. You need to have that funding to help to do the repairs. So agriculture is the drive in, and healthy eating habits. So that is what these young people are doing, along with access to the internet. They could do wonders, and we've seen them growing. They are in control, but we have the teachers who are helping them on their way forward. So we are very excited over that project, and that is one of the many that is yet to come.
Okay, Minister, you touched on a number of things that I wanted to speak about. Starting with the sport, you mentioned the youths are being partaking in football. I know that you've been trying to get football, well, indigenous youths, into football at the national level. Can you say how that has been working? Was the progress in that area?
Yes, it is something that Minister has been following up a great deal. She took some national coaches out in the whole of the Rupununi. So as we speak, they're organizing to get themselves into this
Yes.
this FIFA arrangement where you have to be registered, you have to stick to the rules, which is a good thing for the young people to grow with that understanding that there are rules, and to be young leaders. If you can't take instructions, you can't give instructions.
Football really is the game of the Rupununi, and they're highly talented, but they needed the necessary coaching and support. That is why when we first went on our outreach in Region 9, I invited GFF Technical Director Claude Bolton to accompany us, so he can see firsthand in every village the level of talent and also the challenges that these footballers face, in developing themselves, their game, and how hard it is for them to reach. Although they may have the talent, they don't. We don't see their faces on the national team. So I always say that, we don't have a national team if we can't see our indigenous people reflecting on the national team. Hence, and now movement has started there because they have now GFF has engaged 4 youths to go to the different villages to organize the clubs so that, as Minister said, they can really get to their license now, their FIFA, so that they can go, their names can go on the internet and you can see them as a licensed club. So that's the first major step towards getting them, on the national team. Other than that, you have coaches will be going in. Coaches have started already, but more will go. And that's only one region.
Yeah,
we have other regions.
Just in addition to that, it's not only about football. We have persons with the interest of cricket. We used to play cricket here when I used to be there. So it's just that it is expensive, but it's not. It's not a case where we cannot
Or it's
help help
impossible.
help help the West Indies to get cricketers from India. We also have good cyclists. We have athletes.
Oh my gosh.
We have had a number of athletes who have never gone beyond the national sports. Good athletes, but there was never the support. So we are, and even boxing, we could play a great role here. And this is all giving the young people an opportunity to excel and prove themselves. Let what we would say, the silent witness, like a silent witness. We need to now expose our ability, and this is what we are trying to do in the area of sports and music and arts and you name it. So
Swimming too.
yes,
You know, swimming. Recently at the Heritage Games, we introduced swimming on archery. For the Goodwill Games in Trinidad, the ministry supported three of our indigenous best swimmers to go and swim over there, along with help from business persons like McDC. I think it's McDC and I forgot the other one, but two business persons came forward along with us to support our indigenous swimmers. They did very well.
Okay, Minister. Well, there seems to be a lot of progress in that area. The Hinterland Employment Youth Service Program, which was recently launched, can you say how this has been impacting the community? I know you started with Paramakatoy. So
Yes.
can you tell me a little about if you have done a follow-up and what it's been like so far?
Well, actually, in Paramakatoy, it was launched on October 1st, and in that area, the three villages actually are in the program. That is Paramakatoy, Mountain Foot, and Bamboo Creek. We have 26 youths from Paramakatoy, 13 from Mountain Foot, and 13 from Bamboo Creek. And the program, they're really, really excited about the program. I recently paid, when we went and do a welfare program in Cato, I went over to Paramakatoy just to check on the program. That's the next month, October. And the youths were sewing, they actually produce stuff like skirts and tops, pants, little babies' clothes and dresses and big people's suits and, shirt and pants. You can see they have slight, I wouldn't say defects, but you can see a little learning in it, but at least they did something. So I advised them that they must have a Christmas sale with their produce. So the next year now, better products will be manufactured. But you're already seeing the impact of this. The girls, remember, most of these young adults, many of them have babies and so on already. It's between the ages of 16 to 35. So their husbands either are there or some of the babies' fathers, as the men would do today. They would go and sometimes don't take care of their children, and the young girls got to fend for themselves. So this program is actually teaching them a skill to not only to earn but to help their family. Instead of going and buy clothing and they can't afford that, they get a piece of cloth and they sew whatever style and even the school clothes, and dress their children. So it has a double impact. It's really, really great. And they get to learn some maths and English. And Minister was talking about ecotourism. That is something they're also learning, ecotourism and hospitality, because it's looking at your environment and see how best you can showcase it and earn from it instead of destroying it. So they are into that too. The second phase will be agriculture. That's only for three villages. Now, the other skills training there is carpentry and joinery. their CDP, we're trying to match whatever they're learning with their community development project, the 5 million from the GRIF project. So if it's a hospitality project, they're going to learn how to manage that guest house, everything about it, the food, the front desk, everything they're going to learn. I came back on Sunday from Monkey Mountain where we launched another three. Monkey Mountain, Taruka, and Tusining. The same thing, a little academics, eco, but within their sewing, their own is sewing and embroidery, because the facilitators are chosen by the community from the best talented person there to teach the youths now. So there you had a very talented seamstress and embroidery, what you call embroidery person. Well, fantastic work she does. So she's a facilitator. And also within the ecotourism, they are going to focus on rocks, the semi-precious stones like these. They have jasper, we found amethyst, and quartz. So they're going to focus on whatever stones they have there, and they will learn the history about it before they can go on to making, polishing and making jewelry out of it, actually establishing a lapidary later on and so on. But in the meantime, the eco part of it. So if you want to go and visit Monkey Mountain or Tusining, they will lead you in a trail after, the tour guides, and describe to you what type of brick is this, what it is good for, and the whole history about it. Like in the Bible, jasper was the foundation of David's building for Jesus. So these stones are way back in history. So it's fascinating not only to me but to the people there. If you see the stones they brought out, I took up an expert. So the village went crazy about the bricks. After that, even I started filling up my pocket with bricks to bring back. So it was so lovely.
Okay, Minister, thank you very much. Minister Hadicofter, I have one last question for you before I hand over to you to give me any other information that you like. In terms of your legislative agenda, I know that concerning the act you're planning to rename it. Can you tell me a little about that, and what are the fine-tuning that you're going to be doing to the actual act?
Okay, we are in the process of having this discussion with other stakeholders because we do not want to do it on our own here. We need to get a feedback from all the various players before we decide on how we move forward with this. But definitely it is in the plan to do so, because we found that in some part of it it's not as strong as we anticipated. Well, not anticipated, but not as strong as we would have liked it to be, because we have seen our two shows being taken to court, and they're coming out again sometime this week, I think. And there are some weaknesses in the act where in actually deciding upon if it is okay for a minor to work, as long as the GGMC satisfies itself that this is not going to harm the people, or so they give the permit. And we speak so much about what do you call it, free, prior, and informed consent, but yet this is not helping us, because as long as the officer goes and he satisfies himself, it is okay, and that's not satisfying the true beneficiaries of this area. So all of that is one big issue that we'd like to get corrected.
Ministers, in a nutshell, how would you say your first 6 months in office was?
Well, if I may go first, a very interesting challenge. I think I have a little advantage in the sense that I lived the life, I lived the low carbon development strategy life. Because I use the natural things. I know what it is to breathe fresh air. I know what it is when the sun is hot. I know what it is when we see you suffering. I know what it is when we say we enjoy life. Because life is too short to be negative, so you got to be positive, and that is why you find most, if not all, Amerindians love to laugh. It's a good medicine. It's a good medicine. Have uh, we would have been happier if funding could have been made available readily, but that's not the case. That's not the reality. But what we've had is that we were able to achieve a number of outstanding requests by the National Two-Shows Council, by village councils, and also by other indigenous NGOs. I think we've been able to have a discussion with them, and they were really constructively critical, and they've taught us, to see the bigger picture, the picture that is going to help us to be benefiting from our natural setting, and also to give benefit to nation building. And this is what we're hoping, that as a people we have a role to play in helping to have a good life for all.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone in Guyana who voted for APNU AFC, thus giving us the chance to give service to this nation. And I would like to thank APNU AFC for giving particular Minister and I the chance to serve in this ministry, because this ministry is so important to our people, and it has to have people, as Minister say, who live the life to understand our environment and how it affects our people. I myself, like Minister, I grew up in Region 1 and Region 9, Region 9 more in the Deep South. So I know the issues there. So when both of us go out, we are with our people. We understand their needs, and we know how much they suffer. So we can represent them as best as we can. As Minister said, money takes a long time to come, and we wish it could come faster. But we have been able to really do some work that we're satisfied about. For instance, for me, the women's group, we could at least support them with their projects, with sewing and catering, craft centers, handicraft, duck rearing, snack it, and all those things. We can at least 15 women's groups got money, some funding to help them with their economy, to empowerment them. Even before, like Minister, in his tourism, I used to be in this empowerment, women empowerment, traveling to Paramacator, to Campbelltown, to Maruka, with different programs, and it always excited not only the women who took part, but the whole village want to know what's going on. One time I had a summer school with the art and craft for the children. 8 and 9 children turned out in Maruka. So it was overwhelmingly successful, and I wish that we can continue doing this over and over. But funding, I hope the fundings can be there. But we have other funding agents that we can convince, hopefully, to help us to have this, to continue our drive to empower our people so that they, instead of handing out and receiving, they in turn now can have their economies going, be able to put 3 square meals on the table every day for their children, and generally invite us now. And we can only play a supporting and advisory role. We don't want for our people to forever live in poverty so that they must depend on our ministry and our government to support them. We have to empower them now and help them to grow to be independent. So through the youth program, through all these programs, we are doing that. So you can say it's only when budget passed. August, Minister? August. September, past August, right? Now, and we came into government May 15th, and before we settled down, we can say April we started doing things. Now let's say April, May, June, July, August, September. Within 5 months, the youth program at least was launched. The old one was reviewed, the previous one was reviewed, and we found that it was not, it could have been enhanced then to better empower the youth. So that is what we did. And next year, that will be at least, it will be full throttle for next year. This year we're testing it and looking at it, and so far, as I said, the results are looking good.
So in that case, we can expect great things from you in 2016.
Yes, yes. If I should say that the potentials are great. In terms of human and natural resources. And I'm confident that we could do really good in 2016. And this is because we have a good team. And without these wonderful people here, we would not have been able to meet the 10 points that we were set out to meet. So I have to, and I must say, thanks to the staff and to all who assisted, the government, the president himself, the prime minister, the minister of finance, everybody in the ministry gave us a lot of support and advice, and give us that confidence that we are on the right track. So I would like to say thanks very much to the staff and wish them and all the people of Guyana a very, very happy and prosperous Christmas and New Year.
I endorse that. A happy New Year to all Guyanese, and a blessed and happy New Year too. Blessed and prosperous too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. It's a pleasure being with you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.